Folks, welcome into sportsbookreview.com. It's Friday, and it's time to break down the Major League Baseball card. This is your Major League Baseball team right here at sportsbookreview.com. I'm Donnie Seymour, Jason Radowitz, along with Kyle Purviance, who is ready for the holiday weekend.
Right.
Yesterday, Jason, you know who was ready for the holiday weekend? Milwaukee Brewers, putting some money in our pocket.
Yep.
Yeah, it happened in the ninth inning, though. Could have been a little bit earlier, but like we talked about, though, when we're taking the Brewers, we know that they're going to put in maximum effort throughout the entire game. That's what we talked about with the game they were down against the Cubs 7-0. So that was the fun part of that game. They got the job done, really because the Pirates put in their closer, who hadn't pitched since Sunday, and closers aren't really great in non-save situations. So that was the big key there for the Brewers. Got the job done, and like we said, we knew there was going to be runners on base all game, and finally they capitalized in the ninth.
There you go. Kyle is ready for this holiday weekend. But before that, we got a really good baseball card today, Kyle, to hit.
Yeah, we didn't think we were going to love this card. And then I started looking, I'm like, damn, I love this card. And I love this weekend. Freedom holiday. We're going to have a great time. I hope everyone has a safe and fun holiday. We sure will, although we got some big illegal fireworks. It's going to be an absolute blast. So I'm ready to get started now. Great card. Let's win some money. And I hope most of you did not put the mortgage on those Giants. I tried to warn you. And let's keep that ball rolling today. Of course, I was let down a little bit by Jacob deGrom in that first 5 under. That's what I get for taking an under. I'll probably never do that again. But, sometimes you gotta put yourself out there, take a risk. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. But today is going to be a good card because you know what we say here, Friday is payday.
Damn right it is. And by the way, Kyle's going to go out there and try to JPP himself this weekend with a huge fireworks display. So maybe on Monday he'll be waving hello with
never would happen.
A couple fingers out here as he gets back at it. But we'll see what happens here. But we do wish everybody a happy holiday weekend. We'll be back on Monday. But today we got a big card to tackle and a really good card, specifically from a team total perspective. 86,900 subscribers. Why am I saying this 2 days in a row? We should have 87,000 subscribers. If you haven't hit that subscribe button just yet, please do so. Turn your notification bells on, because every time we go live to talk a little Major League Baseball, you will be included, and you can come in here and say hello. Let's get right to the card tonight. Prime time games in Philadelphia, 9:51, 9:52. Paddock and Wheeler on the mound. Two good pitchers. Look at this. Basically a pick'em, depending on where you're shopping at. 114s, 116s, 111s, and also looking at a total that opened up at 8, but now sits at 8.5. Looks like the Philadelphia Phillies, Jason, lineup just came out. And finally coming back here, Didi Gregorius, making an appearance here in the Philadelphia Phillies lineup. What are we looking at tonight between the Pods and the Phils?
Yeah, that's big. And, Paddock really hasn't been that great. If you look at his last, 5 games, he's allowed multiple runs in each of them. Can the Phillies provide some runs? Yeah, I think so. Obviously, Didi back. The lineup looks pretty good for the Phillies. Not, on paper, not statistically, but the stats can get better for that ball club. Obviously, they do have a solid heart of the order, with that group there. So I do think Zach Wheeler gets the job done here in the at least the first 5 innings. So I do think the Phillies are the better team in the first 5. You get them around that -110 range. I think that's the play here when it comes down to this game.
Yeah, and take a look at this now is, we don't like the Phillies bullpen, but we love the Phillies bullpen from a gambling perspective here. So now you're getting the best of both worlds here, Kyle. If you just take out the, weighted on base averages or whatever this year, the Phillies, for the first time in a long time, look like a decent lineup here. Herrera, Segura, Realmuto, Harper, Hoskins, Gregorius, McCutchen, and Bohm. Bohm's actually now your 8-hole hitter. So you have a nice 1 through 8 here. Do we know that it equates to the lineup? Maybe not just yet. But looking from a summer perspective here, if the Phillies stay healthy on offense and still have that wretched bullpen, boy, they are going to print some money for us.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's kind of how I'm approaching this game. So it's the two. I do like the Phillies lineup tonight. You'd probably still give the slight edge to the Padres lineup overall. When you look at the starting pitching, Jason's 100% right. Paddock has not been good, and he's not been great against the Phillies. His last 2 starts, 10 and 20 fantasy points respectively. We've got 1 out of the last 5 where Wheeler started. He put up a 34. I like Wheeler more than Paddock. But then you start getting to that bullpen, and that Phillies bullpen is really, really bad, while the Padres bullpen is the best in baseball right now. So this is probably a spot. I do agree. I would lean the Phillies the first 5 innings. I don't trust them enough to jump all over that. This would be a live betting spot for me. If Wheeler's dealing, maybe that Padres total is low. You get a live betting spot later in the game, as Donnie preaches all the time, and you can attack that Phillies bullpen and get some value on the Padres later in the game. That's how I would approach it. I don't mind the Phillies in DFS. You actually have some nice prices in DraftKings and FanDuel for this Phillies lineup. Now they add Gregorius. That's going to help. Real Muto has been good against Paddock. Bryce Harper's been good against Paddock. Gene Segura has been solid against Paddock. So there are some hitters here who can have some success, both Real Muto, and there was one other guy who had homered off of Paddock. I can't seem to find him right now. But there are some spots here for the Phillies. If you're going to take a side in the first 5, I would lean the Phillies. But for me, this is a live betting spot. I'll attack that Phillies bullpen later in the game after Wheeler's out.
Yeah, interesting one here. And, I was cashing in big-time CLV yesterday with no Marlins-Phillies game. I was going to walk to victory in that one, as we were talking about on the show, the 3.5 at -115, which rose up to at least -165. Before they called it yesterday, I was going to put that money in my back pocket, but it is what it is. We'll keep moving down here. How about this one in the Bronx tonight? The Battle of the Big Apple. Walker on the mound versus Montgomery. That is the Mets and the New York Yankees. Opened up offshore at 134 as a favorite towards the Yankees. How about this? Up to 152 now. FanDuel out of New Jersey opens up at a 142, now sits at a -152. 9.5s down to 8.5s currently sitting here. It's one that you look at and you say, you can't really trust either one of these teams per se, because they're having – one team is actually in first place, but it's almost like you're saying, look at the National League East. Nobody can take it from the Mets. But now you go up in the Bronx here, and this is where we talk about where you get added advantages, Jason, when you say an American League team to a National League team. You look at the American League team. Stanton's going to be your DH. 255 ISO power, number 383 weighted on base average. And then you take a look at guys like, I don't know, who's going to be it? Peraza, Guillorme, Almora. Come on now. It's get the DH in the National League so these guys can actually sign some legitimate hitters to put in that spot. But looking from a betting perspective in this game, not ready for me to back the Mets yet. Waiting on Nimmo to get back in the lineup, maybe J.D. Davis, and then get them back in the National League where they might be able to have a decent 1-8. Jason, tonight, what are you looking at tonight in the Bronx, Battle of the Big Apple?
Yeah, so before the show, I like the under 5 in the first 5 innings. The Yankees and the Mets, obviously both teams who have struggled early on in games. Walker, he struggled in a start previous to his last one, allowed 4 runs, 10 hits to Washington in 6.1 innings pitched, but bounced back versus the Phillies, 1 earned run, 5 strikeouts, just 1 walk in 5 innings with 68 pitches. And I think that was a doubleheader game. So he had a short leash in that game just for that reason mainly. Still, Walker, 2.38 ERA. His whip is pretty low. He's been really good. And then you look at Montgomery. On the other hand, yeah, he's on and off, but he'll usually give you a good enough game to keep the Yankees in the game. 3 runs, 1 run, 4 runs, 3 runs, 1 run, but it doesn't really have that big blow up game. Here and there he will, but he hasn't been terrible. But then again, you look at the lineups the last 30 days, it really hasn't been bad for the Yankees, for example, against righties, 207 ISO, 365 weighted OBA in the last 30 days. So, they're so hot and cold. So both of these teams are really hard to predict offensively. So, yeah, I do like the under. I think both of these teams have kind of been shaky early in games for the most part, especially recently outside the Yankees having a couple of big games as of late. So under 5 would still be the play here in the first 5, but it was -110, probably juiced up to around -130 now. So a little bit different there, but still kind of like it.
Yeah, not a great side from my perspective, but also an interesting game, though, to try to break down. Looking at the weather conditions tonight, about 75 degrees at first pitch, but we are going to get some rainy conditions as we have on the East Coast. And it looks like they'll probably be able to get the game in, but whether or not they score some runs, that is another picture. Because when you're talking about scoring runs, you're certainly not looking at the Mets per se here, Kyle.
Yeah, this game, honestly, is a complete and total pass for me. I want nothing to do with this game. Now, I will say, in his last 2 starts against the Yankees, Walker has not looked great. An 8 fantasy total in his last start, 21 before that. Montgomery just has the 1 start. He put up a 27. I would say Walker is the better pitcher. Of course, the Yankees have the better lineup, even though they haven't been performing. But, we make fun of the Yankees and not performing all the time. And then you figure the one lineup that's really not performing is this Mets lineup. So I don't know how, if I was going to lean a bet in this game, I suppose I would take the under 8.5. But for me, I will absolutely not put a single dime on this game Maybe you get later into the game and you've got the Yankees being shut out and you get that total of 1, which we love to do. And Donnie has been an absolute maestro at calling that. So I would keep an eye on his Twitter, because if something like that pops up, he loves to put that out there. And that's the way I would approach this game. There's no way I'm picking a side or a total in this game. Just both these teams way too untrustworthy. And there's just way better spots on the card. So why force it?
Yeah, it's funny. These are two of my more favorite teams to bet on late in game situations when they continually show up with one run. So maybe we get that type of situation tonight. Should be an interesting one live from the Bronx. Out west tonight, Boston and Oakland. Boston absolutely on fire now. Takes their show on the road. It's going to be Rodriguez, the lefty on the mound, versus Frankie Montas, 975, 976. If you take a look at the lines here, you have some reverse line movement here. Pinnacle opened up as a minus 118 for Oakland offshore, now showing a minus 118 favorite for Boston offshore. We take a look here at the FanDuel Sportsbook here in New Jersey. Opened up actually as a favorite towards Boston at minus 116. Hasn't moved all that much, minus 120s, minus 115s, depending on where you're shopping around. 8.5s across the board in this one. As we take a look, Jason, the middle of the lineup for the Red Sox, hammering away. Verdugo, Martinez, Bogarts, and Devers are absolutely crushing the baseball. Oakland now coming back to the Coliseum. Decent lineup they have out tonight. Rodriguez not having that great year that maybe his record would anticipate, because for a while it was like, hey, as long as Rodriguez is on the mound, doesn't matter. The Boston Red Sox are going to win the game. Not so much anymore, but the red-hot team goes from East Coast to West Coast. Is that going to make a difference? Because we were seeing, Jason, 95-degree weather in Boston. Now we're seeing 65-degree weather out in Oakland.
Yeah, that's the problem now. The Red Sox go over to Oakland now in a pitcher's ballpark. And if you look at Oakland's lineup, you go back to the Oakland A's going up against Eduardo Rodriguez. Yeah, their offense hasn't been that great in the last 30 days. Projected lineup would have a 143 ISO, a 268 weighted OBA. They're not walking much either, 7% of walks. And Rodriguez has kind of done a decent job at limiting the walks. He's kind of just allowed a bunch of hits and a high batting average of balls in play. With a bigger ballpark, yeah, maybe there's potential there for more hits, or there's potential for less hits, with the ball being up in the air longer and more foul balls that could be caught and whatnot. So while this game kind of looks like an over, it probably ends up going towards the under, because even Boston, for example, like them against righties in the last 30 days, that projected lineup has a 140 ISO, a weighted OBA of 325. They're also walking below 8% of the time. So it kind of looks like an over game. But then when you dig down deep into this, especially being in Oakland, it probably goes under. So this is a game I would definitely stay away from, because look, Montez, he's 7-7 on the year. So he's had some really, really bad games. He's had some really, really good games. 4.72 ERA. Rodriguez, 5.83 ERA. So both of these pitchers haven't been great, but I mean, they do kind of profile a little bit better. And Rodriguez did have a solid outing against the Yankees in his last start. The Red Sox had actually won the last 5 games that Rodriguez has pitched in. So we'll see. This is a game that I would stay away from 100%.
Yeah, it's a tough one. It's a good game overall. If you're watching from a fan perspective here, Kyle, as you take a look, because I do like the middle of the lineup, but also keep in mind the ISO power numbers here versus right-handed pitchers from the Boston side. Hernandez 181, Verdugo 199, Martinez 269, Bogarts 220, Devers 353, and Renfroe 188. So you got some action power punches here. Is that worth taking? Because now you have a slight favorite here on Boston. Sometimes like to ride the hot hand, but Oakland no slouch at all, trying to gain on those Astros and put their stamp on that AL West.
Yeah, this is another tough game, and I hate to say it twice in a row, but this is another stay-away game for me. I would lean the Red Sox. You guys all know I do not trust the A's. I will say this. A few of these hitters in the middle of the lineup for the A's do profile nicely off Rodriguez. Chapman, Lowry, and Pinder all profile really nicely. They're 4 of 10, 4 of 13, and 3 of 12, with 1 home run being hit by Pinder off of Rodriguez. But how can you trust Montas against that Red Sox lineup? Do you trust Rodriguez? It's just a tough one for me. I would lean Boston. I would lean them in the first 5 innings as well. But this is another game I just want nothing to do with. I think there's so many better spots on the card that you can find. It's a fun game to watch from a fan perspective. You're absolutely right. Maybe a little sprinkle on that Red Sox team total. They've just been on fire lately. They're hitting the ball well, and you do have some, you mentioned it, Devers, etc. profile pretty well. But other than that, complete stay away game, slight lean to the Red Sox.
All right, let's get to some value menu wagers on the card. Yesterday, my value menu wager there came in and cashed on the Milwaukee Brewers. Today, I'm going to go with the Minnesota Twins going out and playing at Kansas City. Should be some decent hitting weather. Singer's actually been an okay pitcher this year. An xFIP minus of 97, ERA 4.70, xFIP at a 4.12. But I got some good bats in the lineup, particularly doing some damage against Singer comes from the left-hand side. Bats tonight, Arias, Larnack, Kepler, Polanco, Krylov, Rootveld, all coming from the left-hand side. I think they could do enough damage in this game tonight to take down that 4.5 minus 115 that is sitting at the MGM Sportsbook here. Do I think they're going to win the game? Possibility of winning the game, but then again, Jay Happ is on the opposite side, which is exactly my point in this game. You should have a running mate here if you're the Twins. Both of these teams should approach those 4 runs, so if you need extra innings, might be able to get it. And oh yeah, not great bullpens in action today, particularly from Kansas City side. I'm going to lean on the Minnesota Twins team total over the 4.5 at minus 115 as my value menu play. I know there's a segment coming up with a best bet and banker. You damn right I'm in play on that as well tonight. Jason, take it away. Where's the value on your card?
Yeah, so the value for me will be the Reds over 4.5 on the team total. You look at Alec Mills, hasn't been great in the last 30 days and just in general. 4.81 xFIP, striking out 16% of batters, walking 16% of batters. So same amount of strikeouts as walks in the last 30 days for Mills. He's also really struggled against righties, really struggled against lefties. And look, the Reds lineup, they destroy righties. India gets on base at a high rate. Winker gets on with a high rate. Castellanos, Votto, Suarez has some power. Barnhart can get on. So they just got up and down a really great lineup against a guy in Mills who just has not looked great at all this season. 345 batting average of balls to play on the season. He's not going to strike out guys, so balls will be in play for the Reds. And, he's been allowing a lot of hits. And even though he's getting a lot of ground balls on the season, really shouldn't be that many ground balls from the Reds. They're just averaging about 44% ground balls. So they get the ball up, elevated, should be able to get on base, should be able to score some runs because he's allowed a ton of hits on the season. So Reds over 4.5 on the team total for me.
What do we got here today, Kyle? Where's that value at?
Well, first of all, Jason and I are 100% on the same page with the Reds. I love that team total today. I do think they get there. They smashed Mills in their last appearance, about a week and a half ago. I like the advantages here across the board. Love the lefties. Winker, he's only 1 of 10 lifetime off of Mills. Of course, that one hit did turn into a home run. Barnhart, etc. And then someone just asked in the chat box, and it's a great question. When guys profile well versus righties and lefties, I'm assuming there's more of that goes into it. And you're absolutely right. There's some lefties who hit lefties better. Joey Gallo is a great example of that. Chaz Chisholm at the top of the Marlins lineup, which we're going to get to in a moment, is a left-handed hitter who is a full 20 points better off of lefties than righties. So there's plenty of examples of that. So when we say that, it doesn't necessarily mean just lefties or righties. But I do like the lefties, Barnhart and Winker for the A's. Castellanos, he's a righty who smashes righties harder than he does lefties. He's 4-7 lifetime with the home run as well. I like that Reds team total. And my other team total on the value menu, it's a little bit juiced up. If you take it at the over 4.5, you're getting plus money. You take over 3.5, it's minus 145, minus 150, depending on where you go. But I like that Miami Marlins tonight off of Smiley. All 8 of their hitters have an advantage, including Chaz Chisholm. You have guys like Marte and Aguilar who have had really good success. John Birdie, even a small sample size, 2 of 2 lifetime. Duvall has homered off of Smiley. The Marlins over 3.5. Last I looked, it was minus 145. Could be juiced up to 150. If you want to take the plus money at 105, I do think they can get to those 5 runs. Let's not forget that Braves bullpen is also nothing to write home about. So my 2 value menu plays, Reds team total, over 4.5. I see it over 5 now, so some places are going to have 4.5, some are going to have 5. Of course, you want to find that 4.5 and give me the Marlins over 3.5 as well.
Yeah, I had 6 different plays, turned out for today, going through some of those options. Miami was one of those. Tampa Bay was another one. I'm going to get to our best bets and bankers here in just a few moments, but there are some pretty good situations. Some I shied away from just because I think the bullpens might come into play a little bit. In case in point here, I was going to bet Houston, the Astros team total, 4.5 minus 145. Seems like an easy one going against the starting pitcher, Henkes, for the Indians. But the problem is if you don't tack him on for 4, you're going into a pretty good bullpen on the road, specifically with wind blowing in. Do I still think the Astros get over? Yes. But there are some options out here that I do think are better. So why don't we get to the best bets and bankers on the baseball card tonight? And I'm going to take a look at a West Coast game tonight. 9:38 is the first start. That's the Los Angeles Angels and their team total. A little bit juicy on this one, 4.5 at the MGM Sportsbook at -150. It's about as high as I go, that 155, 150 range. But I do think it's going to be legitimate here. I get the best of both worlds in this one. Why is that? I get a terrible pitcher on the mound for Baltimore. I get a terrible bullpen right behind it. And also, some of those games that we like, you're looking at, let's just say Oakland, 65 degrees at first pitch, 59 degrees by the close of that game. You're looking at close to 80 degrees at the first pitch here in LA with a light wind blowing out. They should eat tonight. You don't need a ton of runs in this one. Just looking at 4.5. So if we match up some of the things that we like in this lineup, it's not particularly to say like, oh boy, this Angels lineup is sensational. It's basically going up against Aiken. 5.25 xFIP here gets lit up by right-handed batters. That's basically all the Angels present to you are a bunch of right-handed batters outside, obviously, of Walsh as being a decent left-handed bat in the lineup. But again, if you maybe get through Aiken, a great start for him, 5 innings, 3 earned runs. You get 3 extra innings to go after that Baltimore bullpen. And also keep in mind, something we talk about quite a bit here in this game. Canning also is not a very good pitcher here. So you could have a running mate with the Baltimore Orioles. 3-3 turns into 4-4, turns into 5-5. There you go. You're off and running at this point because a lot of times we take the home teams. You want to activate the bottom of the 9th inning. So I would love for Baltimore to score 5 runs over the first 5 innings. Fantastic stuff. At least I know if I need it, I'm going to get a 9th inning at bat, which Jason and I looked at yesterday with the Milwaukee Brewers. Yeah, the Brewers were home. You don't cash that ticket, but they weren't. They got the full 9 at bats and cashed in. I'm going with the Angels tonight. 4.5 team total, -150. Best bet and banker on the card. Cashing that in tonight. Friday's payday. Jason, what do you got tonight for your best bet?
Yeah, so I'm looking at the Twins and Royals game. I like the over 5.5 in the first 5 innings. Now I got that at +100, so I got it at even, but you'll probably see it around -105 to -110 range. Obviously, I still like it there. You can even get that 5, and you can get the push there if they only score 5 runs, of course, on MGM around -135, -140 range. So those are all options there for you guys to choose from. But J.A. Happ, we'll start with him first here. Against righties as a left-handed pitcher, 228 batting plate appearances against righties, 368 weighted OBA, ISO of 267, striking out just 17.1%, getting ground balls at just 31.4%. Now you look at this Royals lineup, O'Hearn might be in the lineup, but outside that, it will be all righties in the lineup for the Royals. And obviously, they all profile extremely well against Happ. They've already had 2 games against him and done some damage in those previous games where he's only gone 5 innings and allowed a solid amount of runs there. Then you go to Singer. On the other hand, you'll get that Twins lineup that Donnie was talking about as well. That lineup for the Twins will have Arez, Donaldson, Larnack, Cruz, Kepler, Polanco. They all profile extremely well against Singer. Now Singer, he's looked pretty bad against righties and lefties in the last 30 days. To righties, 200 ISO. To lefties, 192 ISO. So he's getting hit hard with a lot of power against him throughout the entire last 30 days. Also, his walks are getting really high. Maybe that has something to do with the sticky stuff, but yeah, his walks are getting really high as of late. But with that said, so both guys have high batting average balls in plays, over 300. And, I wouldn't be surprised if both pitchers allowed 3 or more runs through 5 innings in this game, and we got that 6. Obviously, Happ and Singer, they're both more than capable of allowing 4 or 5 runs in a game. Even Singer, like he only allowed 3 runs in 7.2 innings pitched against the Twins, but in those 7.2 innings pitched, he allowed 10 hits, 4 walks, and again 3 earned runs because he had to leave the game early after getting hit with a line drive off his foot that resulted in a double play, and he got bailed out and got out of the inning. Well, of course, the Twins, they tacked on a bunch of runs later against that bullpen of the Twins, of the Royals in that game, and were able to get a ton of runs in that one as well. So, again, over 5.5 in the first 5, that will be my official play at +100. But if you get it at -110, I would still take it.
Yeah, good hitting weather out there in Kansas City tonight. Kyle, where are we going tonight? Best bet and banker on your card tonight.
I, too, am on this Royals-Twins game. I'm going to take a little bit different of an approach. I'm going to take this Kansas City Royals team total over 4.5 at -130. Look, the Royals are a trippy team, okay, and they're quietly turning into one of the worst teams in baseball in terms of winning games. This is what their third or fourth time losing 9 or more games in a row. When they get bad, they get really, really bad. But tonight we got J.A. Happ on the mound, and I have eight of their 9 hitters tonight with an advantage of 13% or more. And I'm actually not sure. Will it be? There's going to be a lefty. It's either going to be Lopez or O'Hearn in that lineup. And if they play them both, then that hurts it just a little bit. But I love this lineup tonight. I love the weather in that tonight. And a couple of guys I want to focus on. Everyone loves the home run props. We gave this out as the prop of the day over at our SBR Twitter handle. Salvador Perez for his career off of J.A. Happ. 9 for 23 lifetime with 4 home runs. You're looking for a home run prop tonight? Salvador Perez is your guy, and the prop I really like at -132. It's 2 bases from hits. All he needs is 1 double, a couple of singles, or that 1 home run that I think can come tonight. I like Salvador Perez, and I like the Royals. Also, Carlos Santana, 10 for 22 lifetime, including a home run. The middle of this lineup, and Hanser Alberto at the bottom of the order, who's been absolutely terrible, but in his career off of J.A. Happ, 8 for 22, 2 doubles, 2 home runs. I think the Royals rake tonight. My play of the day is the Royals team total over 4.5. And let's not also forget, after you get rid of that canned pitcher Happ, you're going up against the 5th worst rated bullpen in baseball in terms of ERA. The Twins bullpen gives up a ton of runs. Opportunities should be aplenty for the Royals tonight. Give me that team total over 4.5, -130.
Maybe an undershot tonight as we start moving towards the odds lightning round and going down the Major League Baseball card tonight. 9:53, 9:54, Milwaukee and Pittsburgh, Hauser and Brubaker, good pitchers ballpark. And quite frankly, I guess a good pitchers ballpark, if you're just pitching against Pittsburgh, I guess makes the most sense because those 8s are now turning into 7.5 here, Jason.
Yeah, look, I think Hauser is the worst pitcher in this game. So they're not getting my money, but the Pirates had plus money in the first 5 innings. It seems like the play here, Hauser in the last 30 days, 5.13 xFIP, striking out just 14.5%, walking over 10% of batters. He's been awful versus righties. He's been awful against lefties. Walks and low strikeouts to both sides. So I think the Pirates, obviously Moran now going to be out again for quite some time. So the Pirates have that going for them. And also, Frazier will likely be traded pretty soon from the Pirates as well. So, maybe Frazier starts, producing a little bit so he can get a trade to the contender. Maybe that's in the back of his head. So, yeah, I think the Pirates are the better team in the first 5 innings. But, of course, Milwaukee could hit Brubaker. He hasn't been terrific. I mean, his xFIP is 3.8, so he's not terrible. I just think Brubaker is the better pitcher than Hauser. And if you're getting the Pirates at plus money, you might as well take it.
One of the best defensive plays you're ever going to see yesterday coming from Jackie Bradley Jr. Now, I do a radio show at night, so I have all the TVs on watching all the baseball games, but I can't hear what's going on. I can only see what comes off the bat, and then the cameraman lets you in on it, and also how the center fielder, Jackie Bradley Jr., is going to react. A shot off the bat, he jogs out to center field as if this ball is way out of here. The camera starts to lift up, and he tucks in a catch and throws Stalling out at first base, who was rounding second base, who caught, obviously, saying this ball is out of here off the wall. I better get on my horse. One of the most interesting plays you will see. But I got to tell you, if you have a team total and the guy does that to me, I'm writing letters to that organization. How it's unfair. How this guy had my hopes up that was a 2-run home run, which turned into a double play. But if you haven't seen it yet on Twitter, watch Jackie Bradley Jr.'s play last night in center field for the Brewers. Kyle, 9:55, 9:56, Dodgers, Washington. 8 across the board in this one. Slight favorite towards the Dodgers. What gives in this? Because I know behind the scenes, Jason sent us a tweet that says basically, hey, if you're looking at pitchers today, this guy who was cheating last week, and also keep in mind this as well, there is gamesmanship in Major League Baseball, but Jason's tweet about, some of the guys where their spin rate is way down. There was a method to the madness why Joe Girardi kept calling out Scherzer, because it's obviously known behind the scenes Scherzer is a major doctor of the baseball, and he wanted to catch him last week. We'll see if it catches up tonight against the Dodgers. What's your thought here, Kyle, for this game?
Yeah, it's weird. Normally you see Scherzer on the mound, and it's just an automatic fade to the other side, right? But it's a righty. It's against the Dodgers. People are asking, how about a Nerfy in this game? I considered it slightly, but here's my problem. I've had Scherzer burn me twice, giving up first-inning home runs this year. If you look at Justin Turner, who should be in that 2 or 3 hole, usually he's in that 3 hole, 4 of 12 lifetime. Of those 4 hits, 3 of them are home runs off of Max Scherzer. You saw that chart on that tweet. Scherzer's spin rate is absolutely taking a dive because you're right. He was cheating. I'm not afraid to say it. Max Scherzer was a cheating son of a bitch, and now that he can't do it, he's not as special. Plain and simple. What else do you want me to say? Now, could he come out there and deal? Absolutely. But Urias profiles actually pretty nicely against this Washington lineup. When I look at the weighted 3-year OPS, it's a .635. It's the fourth lowest on the card today. Then you look at Scherzer, it's just a little bit lower, .650, but this Dodgers lineup has had some success. 3 starts ago, he only put up a 12 against this Dodgers team. You have some hitters in the top of that order who have had success. I would lean the Dodgers. I stayed away from this game. I didn't have a whole lot of interest in it just because I think there's so many other team totals and spots you could take today. Why mess with Scherzer? Why mess with Urias here against Washington? I'll just take the complete pass on this one. But if I was going to go one way, I would lean the Dodgers. Now, I will say this to counteract what I was saying, which is why I'm staying away. In Urias' last 5 starts against Washington, here's his fantasy totals. 12 points, which is terrible. 3 points, god-awful. 6 points, god-awful. -7, pathetic. And 23, which is like, meh. So this Nationals lineup has had a way of hitting Urias. Stay away game for me, but if I'm going to lean away, I'll lean the Dodgers against a righty, and a righty who no longer has a special little cheat code. So give me the Dodgers. And if you want to go first 5, that's probably the best way to do it. But other than that, stay away game for me.
9:55, 9:56, Tampa and Toronto. This game just missed my card from a Tampa Bay perspective on a team total going up against Manoah. He does have the ability to get right-handed batters out, being a right-handed pitcher, but lefties have gotten to him. And take a look at the lineup tonight. If we look from a Tampa Bay perspective, it looks like we got Lau, Franco, Meadows, Choi, Wendell, Kiermaier, and Phillips from the left-hand side for Tampa Bay going up against the Toronto. Legitimate look here, 4.5, -110 for the Tampa Bay team total. Just missed my card, stayed away from it. What are we thinking here, Jason, in this game between these two teams?
Yeah, look, and on the other hand, you have on the Rays, Patino on the mound. I think he'll get the start here. He hasn't pitched in the MLB since 5/18, so you never know what the Rays are going to do with their pitching staff, and so it's always kind of hard to assess that side of things. But yeah, you're right. Look, against Manoah, he's been bad against lefties. 359 weighted OBA the last 45 plate appearances, 179 ISO, walking over 13% of the batters against the lefties. Ground balls are also low against righties as well. So yeah, the Rays, they do profile pretty well against Manoah, but he is capable of getting high strikeouts, and the batting average of balls in play is still kind of low. So be careful, but I do agree. I think the Rays are the better team here, but we just don't know what the Rays are going to throw out there in terms of pitching, and that's what kind of steers you away from the entire game.
No, it certainly does. It is an interesting one, but again, we're looking at baseball in that small ballpark where it should travel regardless of what happens. So it is what it is at that point. But we'll certainly find out, and I am going to weep if Toronto gives up a lot of runs here to the Tampa Bay Rays, because I said I was really close on taking that 4.5 in this one. Kyle, 9:57, 9:58, Chicago and Cincinnati. Mills versus Gray. Welcome back, Sonny Gray. Last time we saw on the mound was June the 8th. Now comes back off the IL to pitch. Not really in love with Mills at this point. Now, I also had Cincinnati circled as a possible play here. BetMGM listing 4.5 at -140 for the Cincinnati Reds. What's your thoughts here?
Yeah, this game kind of plays to an over for me. You just mentioned it, Gray coming back for his first start. So how many innings are they going to let him go? And then what do you get? One of the worst bullpens in baseball, and this actually the worst right now in terms of ERA. The worst bullpen in Major League Baseball is the Cincinnati Reds. So you're going to get Gray, who has not been great this year when he was pitching, and then you're going to get that bullpen. So both teams have a really decent chance. That Cubs lineup could be very limited. We got to see, is Bryant going to be in the lineup? Is who's the other guy that's hurt? Is it Baez or Rizzo? One of the other two. Yeah, one of the. So you could see a really funky lineup for the Cubs, which keeps me away from that side. But I talked about it. It's on my value menu, and Jason likes it as well. We both like that team total. They should be able to hit off Mills. They just did it a week and a half ago. The lefties, Barnhart and Winker, of course, some of the righties, Suarez, Castellanos, they hit righties better than lefties. Like that Reds team total in this game. I wouldn't pick a side in this one. If you want to take the full game, I would lean the over, but I would keep an eye on that Cubs lineup because you do want a running mate, especially if you're trying to take an over in a game or a team total. If they don't have Bryant and don't have Rizzo, who, by the way, have not been very good off of Sonny Gray in their career, a combined 4 of 29 with, it looks like, 1 home run between those two. So I'm not expecting those two to play. Bryant probably has the better chance out of Rizzo. But for me, it's Reds team total or bust. Put it on the value menu. I think they get that 5 runs tonight.
All right, Houston and Cleveland, McCullers versus Henches, the lefty on the mound tonight. 9.5 now turning into 9s across the board. Heavy favorite here once again for Houston, 171 to 180, depending on where you're shopping at. Houston also just missing my board, 4.5 at BetMGM, minus 145 as a team total. Not a big strikeout lineup here for the Astros. It's always nice to put the ball in play. But the one thing I do worry about is Henches has gotten lit up early in games, not lasted long. But it's a pretty good bullpen that's going to come in behind him. And then how many runs do you need if you're looking from a Houston perspective to actually win this game? Do I think they can get to 5? Absolutely. But again, just missing my card. Any thoughts here between the Astros and the Indians, Jason?
I'm on the same page as you. Look, looking at this weather for the that's going to be in Cleveland, 14 miles per hour winds moving in from center field. That's obviously not great for hitters, and only 73 degrees. So you're not even getting 80 degrees there in Cleveland. And but look, Henches, he's been really bad all season long, a lefty, and obviously the Astros, they hit lefties better than anyone in the league. Yes, the Astros have been a little bit poor the last week or so, but Henches has been way worse than the Astros, lineup has looked in the last week or so. So look, I think the Astros are the play here. I do agree with the over 4.5 in the team total, but like Donnie said, yeah, if Henches comes out early, and there's potentially he does, then you're stuck with the Astros with 3 runs through, 3 innings. Then they have to get 2 against a solid bullpen of the Indians, and, they're on the road. So that's going to be difficult. So if you're going to potentially bet this game, if you can, if your book has this, like points bet or win bet, take the Astros over 2.5 on the team total in the first 5 innings. Go after Henches and get out. And don't worry about anything else. But I wouldn't take the first 5 either, because Lance McCullers, he's been all over the place. He'll have a great outing, a really bad outing. I mean, this guy, he gets 54% ground balls, leaves just 20% of runners on base, has the batting average balls in play of 236. So he's looked really good on paper, but all of a sudden some days he'll just have some really bad outings because of the high walks that he allows at times. So he's hard to figure out at times. So if you're going to bet it, go with the Astros in the first 5 innings on the team total at 2.5. If all you can do and you want to bet this game, go with that 4.5. But I would really recommend 2.5 and getting out.
Yeah. Can I add one more thing to that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Just real quickly. I see a lot of people wanting the Astros and the Astros to win. I just want to real quickly say Lance McCullers, who can put up solid fantasy numbers, but his last 4 starts against Cleveland, 15, -2, 3, and 3. So for some reason, this Cleveland lineup likes what they see when the ball comes out of his hands. So I'd be a little bit careful about jumping all over the Astros.
All right, Kyle, you're up. Chicago White Sox, Detroit Tigers. Now, sometimes when I see Detroit, I just completely skip over the game. Not in love with this one here. 8s across the board, 8.5 at some shops here with totals. A heavy favorite here for the White Sox on the road, anywhere between 145 to 155, depending on where you're shopping at. It was a complete pass for me. Do I think the White Sox win? Sure, but I'm a team total prospector, and when I look at the Tigers, it doesn't even. I just don't want to waste time looking at their team anymore. I don't.
Yeah, I completely agree, And the White Sox lineup could be a little bit weird. We want to see if Yoel Moncada is going to be in the lineup as well. That's a big bat who's had success against Casey Mize, including a home run. But I will say, if you're going to bet the White Sox, I kind of stayed away from the total because sometimes Mize can come out there and just get it done. When you look at his last 4 starts against the White Sox, nothing less than a 25, including a couple of 30s. You can get a -0.5 in the first 5 at -110. That's probably the way you want to get the value if you're going to bet the White Sox here. Lance Lynn, he was part of that chart. We saw that spin rate has really dropped for Lance Lynn as well. He's one of those guys who is also using the ticky-tack stuff here. He's been pretty good. 4 of his last 5 starts against Detroit, 42 fantasy points or more. Someone put in the chat box earlier, under 4.5 runs in the first 5 innings. That might be a spot where I would look, especially if Grandal is out or if Yoel Moncada is out. That's probably the only way I'd bet this. White Sox -0.5 in the first 5. Slight lean, but I do like the under 4.5 runs in the first 5 innings.
All right, Miami and Atlanta, 959, 960. Lopez versus Smiley. Smiley on the season, terrible, but Smiley as of late, when they started, cracking down on spin rate here, he's actually been pretty good. Since the 8th of June, 4 1/3, 2 earned runs. Next start, 5 with 2 earned runs, 5 2/3 with 0 earned runs, and 6 innings with 1 earned run. So pitching a little bit better, but I did have Miami circled 3.5 and a -140 team total. Their lineup does look good against Smiley. Should be good hitting conditions. Should they get to 4? Absolutely. But I slightly backed away from this one here. What are you looking at, Jason, between this battle of the NL East squads?
Yeah, look, Pablo Lopez coming off a 9 strikeout performance against Washington. He had 7 against the Cubs. Now he's going up against the Braves, who they've been striking out a ton against righties, nearly 25% in the last 30 days. To go further with this, Lopez, he's striking out 42% of right-handed batters that he's facing in the last 30 days. So that profile is really well for Lopez in terms of strikeouts. I was all excited to share this with you guys. It was at -105. Now it's at -145. So it shows you how sharp I am. But still, you can get Lopez over 5.5 strikeouts at -145. I still think there's value there. Again, he just struck out 9 batters against Washington and 7 against the Cubs. He struck out 8 against Colorado, 9 against Toronto, who Toronto's another big right-handed lineup as well. So Lopez over 5.5 strikeouts at -145 seems like the play here. But I also agree the Marlins should be able to hit against Smiley. But Lopez, it just stands out. He's striking out 42% of righties in the last 30 days, and the Braves are striking out 25% against righties in the last 30 days. So makes complete sense for Lopez over 5.5 in the strikeouts.
All right, heading out to Colorado, Oviedo and Gonzalez on the mound today. Over-under opened up at 11.5, now sitting at 12.5 across the board. Roughly a pick 'em, and rightfully so. 2 pitchers that give up fly balls. But I got to say, if I'm looking at pitchers that I trust, and at least I know Gonzalez has started quite a few times there at Coors, the lineups don't look overall that great. And I'm not into betting games where I need 13 runs to cash a ticket in. Kyle, what are you looking at in this one?
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Like, for me, I was like, I'll just take the under in this game, because how many times have we said, hey, these pitchers look like crap. These lineups smash away. I mean, we just went through this all week last week with Colorado and Pittsburgh, and we're getting 2-0 and 5-1 and 8-0. For me, I don't want anything to do with anything on the card. I don't mind some of the St. Louis bats if you want to take a little home run prop on like an Arenado back in Colorado off of Chi-Chi, stuff like that. I don't mind that so much. But other than that, under for me. I just don't think they get to those runs. Look, these aren't great bullpens. These aren't great teams. And the team should be able to hit, but we just haven't seen that happen. Everyone's going to be all over runs in this game. I'll lean the under. I mean, 12, 13, to me, that's just absolutely silly. Let me see what I have up here on this Colorado game for a total right now. Yeah, 12.5. I'll just take the under on this one. I stayed away. I'm not betting this game. But if I was, I'd be taking the under in this game. Even though both pitchers stink, that's just way too many runs to count on.
Yeah, it wouldn't be surprising to me if Arenado goes deep in this game going back to Colorado. So I know he's going to be amped and juiced up for this one. Next games we'll skip over the next few. Minnesota and Kansas City. We obviously had some good plays on those, as well as Baltimore and the Angels. Get some opinions here from you, Jason. 963, 964, San Francisco and Arizona. Wood, the lefty, was going up against Zach Gallen, the righty for Arizona. 9.5s, now down to 8.5s across the board. Favorite on the Giants from 143 to 148. Bounce back spot tonight, you thinking here for the Giants, or ready to lay off again?
Yeah, I wonder what the chat's thinking. Do you guys think that the Giants are a lock or not? Let us know. I think the Giants can't lose twice in a row to the Diamondbacks. I think that Alex Wood should be able to shut down the Diamondbacks lineup. Zach Gallen, obviously a solid pitcher, hasn't been the greatest on the season, but he did have an injury in the middle of it. So, I mean, a 4.1 xFIP on the season. But yeah, I mean, it should be a low-scoring game, I would assume, in Arizona. But I think the Giants end up pulling away late. Obviously, there were no runs through like the 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th yesterday. So, I mean, it is what it is. But it's a new day, a new game. I think the Giants probably get the job done here. I don't see them losing twice in a row.
There you go. Keep moving down the list. One late game here we'll go over with you, Kyle. 977, 978, Texas and Seattle, Gibson and Gilbert. It looks like 8s across the board, which is amazing because it tells you how well Gibson has actually pitched this year. But Gilbert, a little bit loose there on the mound. -115 to -124. Also getting a favorite out of Seattle in this one, Kyle.
Yeah, I think the Rangers are a live dog in this spot. Yeah. It's one of the spots where you look and you're like, hey, this team might be a live spot. And we just talked about it earlier, how, hey, do some of these lefties, is it just a left-righty thing? when you start getting into this Rangers lineup, you get some of these lefties who are better against lefties and righties who are better against righties. Nate Lau left, right? So I got that right. Lau left. He profiles nicely. Even Eli White, Gallo.
No, low left, right?
Wait, low left? Damn it. I never remember. Low left, Lau stayed. Damn it. I always get that thing backwards. But
we haven't talked about that. We haven't produced.
Yeah, I just always forget this damn thing. But anyways, I think the Rangers are live dogs tonight. Gibson exponentially better than Gilbert, in my opinion. Do I trust the Rangers enough to put some money on it? No, maybe if I have a bad early part of the night and I want to jump on something late and maybe get something back, which is a bad betting habit, by the way, and not something you're supposed to do. But if you're looking for a live dog today, I actually think Texas is a very live dog. If you want to do a sprinkle on their team total, I don't mind that either. They're on the road, so you know you'll get those full 9 at-bats. It's Rangers for me. I'm going to stay away from Mariners and Gilbert as a favorite. I will pass on, so give me the Rangers as a live dog.
By the way, Kyle, you're going to like this one here, as we always like in soccer, right? So you have a goal by Italy. I look up, it's 1-0. I put my head down, talking around. Then it looks like the goal was taken away. Like here's the idea for soccer. When the ball goes in the net, nobody cheer, nobody do anything, no score change, meet up at midfield, get the review out, and then take a look at it. Why do you even cheer? Here's the question. Are more goals taken away in soccer than any other sport, like 5 minutes after, and because of some VAR where a fraction of a thumbnail is over somewhere?
How about if the damn ball goes in the net, it's a goal, and we stop all the damn nonsense? Maybe more people would want to watch the fucking game. I mean, soccer is so painful to watch. I try to do some of this Euro Cup crap. I would, honest to God, rather watch paint dry. I would rather watch my ex-wife cash in $1 million ticket than sit through a 1-0 game, and then you think you get the tie, and they're like, well, that guy was too fast, so we have to take the goal away. Stupid. Screw soccer. I can't wait for the Euro Cup to be over. I'm so over it. Garbage. Pure garbage up and down the board.
All right, let's get to clearing the bases as we get out of here on a holiday week, and we'll be back on Monday on a nice little action-packed card as well. I did check Monday's card, and I do think most of the games are not in the afternoon and at night, so we have a nice, chance to score and go over those. We'll be having some fun over the weekend. But before we get out of here, let's cap the games, or I should say recap the games that we've given out so far. Value menu wager play for me, the Twins, 4.5 -115 at the MGM Sportsbook. Also, my best bet and banker, the Angels, team total over 4.5 -150, also at BetMGM. What are you looking at, Jason? Both value and also your best bets here.
Yeah, the value will be the Reds over 4.5 on the team total at -130. And the big play, the official play, will be the over 5.5 in the first 5 at +100 for the Twins and Royals game.
Kyle, you're up. What do you got?
Best bet, I like that Royals team total over 4.5 at -130. Again, I know everyone likes the Royals to win. You can't bet the Royals to win. They're in the midst of a 9-game losing streak, and this is what they do. They could lose 13 or 14 in a row. This could easily be a 10-8, 10-7 game. We just need that team total. Give me the Royals there. Also, on the value menu, love that Reds team total over 4.5. Jason and I are on the exact same page. Love the Marlins team total over 3.5. You get it anywhere under 150, take it. Even if it sprinkles over at 155, take it. They profile nicely. Home run prop, Salvador Perez, 9 for 23 in his career. Of those 9 hits, 4 of them are home runs off a hap, so that's the home run prop today as well.
All right, let's get after it. Friday is payday right here at sportsbookreview.com. Cap the entire card, ready to get after it here. Have some fun over the holiday weekend. Be safe out there. Have some cocktails, grill it up, cheeseburgers, whatever you got coming. I'm certain you guys will be able to enjoy, and we will have some fun hopefully watching these games and cashing in some tickets here. So thank you once again for another fire week on the networks here at sportsbookreview.com. I'm Donnie Seymour. He's Jason Radowitz, along with Kyle Purviance. We are the sportsbookreview.com Major League Baseball team. This was your Friday show. Good luck on those wagers.